So when people do things like that, just for a response and to get ahead, is that right?
Well, it's not right. I mean, the thing is, like, you have to also be aware of, like, parody. Parody is legal in America because you're allowed to have the freedom of speech.
Satire.
Yeah, satire and, like, things like that. Like,
Mhm.
you start to and blur the lines there when you start talking about misinformation because, like, a satirical joke is like, yeah, it's wrong. It's not the point of the joke. But, like, now you're talking, like, the thing is, like, when it comes to, like, the freedom of speech, as frustrating as the drawbacks are when it comes to, like, just there's just dumb people out there that say dumb things,
Right.
um, I can't see, like, in terms of now hate speech,
Well, yeah,
that's
that's
where
subjective.
yeah, but, like,
It's
in
not
terms of misinformation, like, again, I see a lot I literally follow flat earth people on, like, Facebook and stuff like that just because it's
right.
hilarious some of the shit they post. Because, like, "Really? You believe that? That's dumb." And that's all it
But
is. And
yeah,
plus
you
it
know
leaves
that though.
and the thing
You're
is,
aware. Yeah.
it leads people to conversate, and the
Yeah.
more conversating we do, the better it is for the country no matter what.
Okay. I get that. But can you, with our Constitution and our Bill of Rights, can you go into a theater and scream fire? You have the right to have freedom of speech, but you also have to be responsible with that speech. So you can't do that, right? You can't scream rape if you're not being raped. You can't scream fire in a theater if the theater's not on fire.
I mean, you
So
can, it's
what
just looked down on. That's the
no,
thing.
you go to jail. You go to jail for that, buddy.
Not
Mhm.
not for the theater, they'll kick you out, and you probably get banned. That's just policy on
If
the
you
theater.
scream fire in a theater and someone alerts the police that you scream fire in a theater, they will arrest you. You'll go to
Well
jail.
yeah, because now, again, that's but it's not for yelling fire, it's causing public distress.
Well, however you want to put it.
But, like,
I'm
you can do
saying
that
how.
million different ways. That's the difference. You
Well,
know what
we're
I
gonna
mean?
right, and I understand that, but when you're using things you know not to be true to gain an edge, that is also wrong. That's fraud. I mean, I'm gonna keep going. I'm
And if it's
going to
proved to be
try.
fraud, that's another thing. That's
Yeah,
illegal in
it's
itself.
fraud. So if you're saying that, we just got a horrible economy because of the price of eggs, and I'm gonna fix the price of eggs, and then you get elected because you said you're gonna fix the price of eggs, and then eggs start to rise again because of the bird flu, which you were probably aware of when you took office. That is, I feel like you committed fraud against the country. That's what I feel. And if you say that you're going to lower the price of gas when it was already lower, the lowest price has been in 2 years, and now gas is going to go up about 80 cents because you're putting tariffs on everybody. I feel like you should be held accountable, no matter who you are, because you're lying to get elected. It's fraud. That's what I feel.
Well,
It's not just
definitely.
because it's not just because the orange turd is in office. I mean, somebody enough people elected him, and they figured out the electoral college on this, and it went. And good for him. Congratulations. But instead of dividing the country, you got to be a person that unites the country. And instead of trying to figure out how to dismantle our constitution, you should be somebody trying to build up our nation. And I feel like through all this fraud, misinformation, digital craziness that's out there now, you got elected because you created fear. You stoked fear. You're the guy who pulled the emergency alarm because you say it's your right to do it, and it's not. I don't believe that's true. I believe that's a falsery. I believe if you're this guy screaming in the theater, you need to go to jail. I don't think there should be an immunity for you because you're the president. That's how I feel about it. What do you think?
Again, it is situational. Again, if he's saying, like, the the problem with that is, like, every single president has said shit that, like, they didn't end up getting done. Every single one of them,
Okay.
all the way down the line. So, like, that's just kind of like holding him. And I'm not, again, I am not a Trumper. You know what I
No,
mean?
I know you're libertarian.
I hate all politicians.
Okay.
But fundamentally, it's just like I can't the freedom of speech. Like, again, like, if I say that I'm running and I'm going to lower the price of eggs, and you do a simple research on me and you find that, like, I'm a construction worker that like has like a 620 credit score or whatever, and you're like,
Right, right.
he's probably not the person that's going to be able to lower eggs. You know, just saying, you know,
I
like
mean, we're there, baby.
so
Look, this fucker. I don't know. Look, I don't know Donald Trump's credit score, but if you have had six bankruptcies in the last 30 years, it's probably not going to be good. A bankruptcy takes what, 7 years to clear? I'm just going off of your analogy. I'm not trying to say anything, but no, I get what you're saying, and I'm not saying that we should hang this fucker up high because he created treason like on January the 6th. Nothing like that. I mean, he got away with it, right? Because when you become president, so the Supreme Court says you can pretty much do whatever you want to do in office, and you have immunity, which I've never heard of. That's the funniest thing ever. But that's also misinformation because that doesn't say anything like that in the Constitution. So what I'm getting at is misinformation is reigning supreme in America, and we are the forebears of America. Like we were here. It's our turn to watch this bitch until we die, and then we pass that torch on to the next generation, and then they pass on to the next generation, and so on and so forth. But if we're doing our job as stewards of this Constitution, of the American dream, we are just misinformed as the next person is, even if they're the president. You know what I mean? Like but and the irony of all this, guys, is that disinformation dates back to ancient times. This isn't the first of this, and like Luigi pointed out, this isn't the first person to do this shit, and we put them on a pedestal. The term itself comes from the Soviet Union's desinformation. I don't know how to say that Soviet. I'm not a communist, but sorry, I'm really not a communist. But that comes from the Soviets, right? Campaigns during the Cold War. The goal was to manipulate, confuse, and control public perception, right? Modern context of this today, disinformation is $1 billion industry fueled by social media algorithms. Key statistics: 62% of Americans regularly encounter fake news online, like real fake news, not Trump fake news, like the real shit. A study from MIT found false news stories are 70% more likely to be retweeted than the true ones. Because why? They're better, they're funnier, they make more sense, they make us giggle, make us laugh. We're in a TikTok kind of lifestyle, but we're playing it with like Russian roulette with our lives. But it's all TikTok satire until someone dies, or loses an eyeball, which we've seen on TikTok. Deep fakes have increased by 900% since 2019, creating a new frontier of misinformation. I don't know, Gigi, if we are gonna make it out of this. I don't think we will. I think we are witnessing the destruction and the downturn in American civilization. What do you think? Is that
yes,
happening?
yes,
I'm
but I don't.
misinforming our audience. I don't think I am.
Yes, I do think so, but I don't. I don't think it's entirely Trump. I think the government has systematically been accidentally destroying itself since I'd say the 80s. The
Okay.
80s.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I feel like, and this is all politicians, but I hate all politicians. They all just keep putting band-aids on it and shit, and it just
Yeah.
keeps getting worse and worse and worse.
Oh, yeah.
And they try to appease to like the youngest crowd, and this is all all politicians, and they end up like
Right.
just looking like a bunch of jackasses, like
Mhm.
parading around saying like, "Oh, I don't know. I can't actually think of
Well,
anything off
you're
the top of
right.
my head."
You
It's
gotta
like there's a lot of pandering, is what I'm saying. There's a lot of
it
pandering
is
to
about
like,
pandering.
you know what I mean? And it's getting old, and like that's my problem with like misinformation. I don't trust anybody in government to tell me what I'm allowed to hear and not just to read and whatnot.
Understandable. That's understandable. And DJ, you hit up on a great point. Like I didn't know this because I haven't gone to Pornhub and I don't even know how long, maybe at least a few years, because that's just not where I get my action. Dun, 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 dun. But we're in Texas. We're in
Your shit
Texas,
got
and
blocked, son.
I don't get them Roblox porn. No, but we're in Texas, guys, and we can't even access Pornhub. I didn't even realize it until it was on one of the, CNNs or something. They're like,
Hmm.
yeah, in Texas, in Florida, they can't access Pornhub without going through a verification service.